This video is meant for education only. For medical advice, talk to your doctor. Did you know that after the age of 50, your body can become less efficient at managing blood sugar, even if you're eating many of the same foods you've eaten for years? And here's the scary part. Most people don't notice it happening. It doesn't begin with a dramatic warning sign. Maybe you're feeling tired in the afternoon more often. Maybe you're waking up feeling less refreshed. Maybe you've noticed stubborn belly fat that seems impossible to lose. Or perhaps your doctor recently mentioned that your blood sugar is a little higher than we'd like to see. What makes this especially concerning is that millions of Americans over 50 are living with prediabetes and don't even know it. But what if some of the most powerful tools for supporting healthy blood sugar levels weren't found in a pharmacy? What if they were already sitting in your grocery store? Today, we're counting down 7 foods that research suggests may help support healthier blood sugar levels after 50. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end because the number one food is probably not what most people expect. In fact, many people overlook it completely, even though it's one of the most studied foods for metabolic health. And before you think this is another video telling you to eat less and give up everything you enjoy, let me reassure you, this isn't about perfection. It's about making smarter choices that can help your body work with you instead of against you. Let's start with number 7. If I asked you to name a food that could help support blood sugar control, chances are this wouldn't be your first guess. Avocados. For years, avocados were misunderstood because of their fat content. Many people assumed that all fats were bad. Today, we know the story is much more complicated. Avocados are rich in healthy monounsaturated fats and fiber. Unlike foods that cause rapid spikes in blood sugar, avocados have very little impact on glucose levels. In fact, adding avocado to a meal may help increase feelings of fullness, which can make it easier to avoid unnecessary snacking later in the day. Think about this for a moment. How many blood sugar problems actually begin with hunger? You eat breakfast. A few hours later, you're hungry again. You reach for something quick. Maybe a pastry, maybe a bag of chips, maybe a sugary drink. That choice leads to another craving later, then another. It's a cycle that repeats itself over and over. One reason foods like avocado are so valuable is because they can help break that cycle. Researchers have found that meals containing healthy fats and fiber often help people feel satisfied longer than meals built mostly around refined carbohydrates. And here's a simple idea you can try this week. Instead of spreading jam on toast every morning, try adding sliced avocado and a protein source such as eggs. Many people find they stay satisfied much longer. But don't get too comfortable with this list, because the next food surprises even more people. In fact, some people avoid it completely because they're afraid it contains too much fat. Yet study after study continues to show potential benefits. Before I reveal it, let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly full after a meal? Not stuffed, not uncomfortable, just satisfied. Because that feeling may be one of the most underrated tools for better blood sugar management. And that's where number 6 comes in. Nuts, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, pecans. These tiny foods pack an impressive nutritional punch. Nuts, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, pecans. These tiny foods pack an impressive nutritional punch. They're rich in healthy fats, fiber, plant compounds, and in many cases, protein. Together, these nutrients slow digestion and help create a more gradual release of energy. Now, that doesn't mean you should eat unlimited amounts. Portion size still matters. But replacing highly processed snacks with a handful of nuts can be a simple upgrade for many adults over 50. Imagine 2 afternoon snacks. One is a sugary cookie. The other is a small handful of almonds. One is likely to be digested quickly, leaving you hungry again sooner. The other may help keep you satisfied for longer, and that difference can have a ripple effect throughout the rest of the day. What's particularly interesting is that researchers have also linked regular nut consumption with heart health. Since blood sugar health and heart health are closely connected, that's something worth paying attention to. But here's where things get even more interesting. The next food is something many Americans already have in their kitchen. Some eat it every day. Others avoid it because they're worried about cholesterol. And yet, When nutrition experts discuss blood sugar-friendly breakfasts, this food often appears near the top of the list. Before I tell you what it is, consider this. One of the biggest mistakes people make after 50 happens before 9 a.m. It's not lunch, it's not dinner, it's breakfast. For decades, many people were told that breakfast should be centered around cereal, toast, muffins, bagels, pancakes, or sweetened yogurt. The problem? Many of these foods can be digested very quickly. And when that happens, blood sugar may rise rapidly and then fall just as quickly. That's often when cravings show up. That's when energy dips. That's when people start reaching for more sugar. Now let's talk about number 5. Eggs. Eggs are one of the most affordable sources of high-quality protein available. Protein plays an important role in helping people feel full and satisfied after meals. And unlike sugary breakfast foods, eggs have minimal impact on blood sugar levels. Think about the difference between starting your day with a frosted pastry versus a breakfast that includes eggs and vegetables. One meal may leave you hungry again by mid-morning. The other may help keep you feeling energized for longer. And here's something fascinating. Many people spend years focusing on what they need to remove from their diet. Less sugar, less junk food, less processed snacks. But successful long-term health often comes from focusing on what to add. More protein, more fiber, more whole foods, more nutrient-dense choices. That's a much more positive way to approach healthy eating. Now, before we continue to the next food, there's something important you need to know. The foods we've discussed so far are helpful, but none of them may be as surprising as the food ranked number 1 on this list. In fact, it's so effective at slowing the rise of blood sugar after meals that some nutrition experts consider it one of the most underrated foods in America. And the reason most people don't eat enough of it has nothing to do with cost. It's about awareness. Sometimes the most powerful foods are the ones hiding in plain sight. And that brings us to number 1. Beans and legumes. Black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, navy beans, pinto beans, lentils. For decades, researchers have studied these foods because they contain a combination that is surprisingly difficult to find in many modern processed foods: fiber, protein, and slow-digesting carbohydrate. Together, these nutrients create what many experts consider a powerful package for blood sugar management. Here's why. Imagine 2 meals that contain a similar amount of carbohydrates. One meal consists primarily of refined carbohydrates like white bread or sugary snacks. The other includes beans or lentils. Your body generally processes these foods very differently. Refined carbohydrates are often digested quickly. That can lead to a rapid rise in blood sugar followed by a sharper drop later. Beans and legumes, on the other hand, contain fiber and protein that slow digestion. Think of it like a campfire. Throw dry paper onto the flames and it burns quickly. Add a thick log and the burn becomes slower and steadier. That's a simple way to understand why foods rich in fiber often support more stable energy levels. And after age 50, stability becomes incredibly important, because one of the biggest complaints many adults have isn't just high blood sugar. It's energy. They feel good in the morning. Then comes the afternoon slump, the fatigue, the brain fog, the desire to reach for something sweet, and the cycle starts all over again. This is one reason nutrition experts frequently recommend increasing fiber intake. Unfortunately, most Americans don't get enough fiber. In fact, some estimates suggest that the average adult consumes only about half of the recommended daily fiber intake. Think about that for a moment. Millions of people are searching for expensive solutions while overlooking one of the simplest nutritional upgrades available. And here's another benefit. Beans tend to be incredibly budget-friendly. At a time when food prices continue to concern many families, that's worth mentioning. You don't need exotic ingredients. You don't need celebrity-endorsed products. You don't need expensive powders. Sometimes the most powerful foods are the ones hiding in plain sight. Now, before you rush to fill your pantry with beans, there's something important to understand. No single food can overcome a poor overall lifestyle. That's where many people get disappointed. They hear about one healthy food and expect miracles. Then nothing dramatic happens. Real health improvements usually come from patterns, not shortcuts, not hacks, not overnight transformations. Patterns. The foods you choose repeatedly, the habits you repeat daily, the lifestyle you maintain over months and years. And that brings us to one of the most overlooked blood sugar habits of all. In fact, it's completely free. No prescription, no equipment, no special meal plan. And research suggests it can help support healthier blood sugar responses after eating. A short walk after dinner. That's it. Simple, but powerful. Most people finish dinner and immediately sit down. They watch television, scroll on their phones, or relax on the couch.